When I was doing the show the other week, I had people ask me, hey, those real dog tags? Yeah, they're real. They're not CG'd. Okay, fine. No, these are not military-style tags. These are actually more meant for the civilian world. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about. And first of all, I understand that this is kind of one of those shows that it means a lot to me. This is information that I would really like to get across to you guys. It kind of fits in the road trip stuff, but it kind of doesn't. So, yeah. So let me kind of throw a couple things out there. This is going to be a long show, and I understand that. The one thing about it is that there's a lot of information I want to give you guys, and if I don't explain the whys and such, then people get, I know better than you do. That's not right. I'm a troll. Yeah, so then no, we're not going to. So in order to avoid that, I'm kind of making this kind of a long show. So if you're watching the whole thing, I appreciate that. Thank you. If you don't watch the whole thing, I understand. It's cool. The internet as a whole has the attention span of like a goldfish, so I understand that. And also, just as some legal repellent, I am not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, so if you're going to follow up on what I'm talking about in this show, actually talk to a doctor, talk to somebody who does this every day, your primary care physician, whatever. Throw it past them. So if you have any questions, don't take some guy on the internet word for it, actually talk to a real doctor. Alright. Now, dog tags, ID tags, whatever. If you're PC, just every time I say dog tag, just think ID tag. But you can take your political correctness and, yeah. But so ID tags have been around for a long time in the military, and they solve one problem, and that is that when you're dead, you can't tell anybody what your name is. Rather morbid, yes, but that's really what these things have been existing for. So keep in mind that this is the information that you're going to be giving somebody if you cannot speak for yourself. Morbid, but yeah. So let's take a look at some military tags over here. Now, the one thing about military tags, well, two things. The first one is that every branch of the military has a different way to do it. Something I always kind of find funny. But the one thing is that for the civilian world, this is not any information that they would want. It's good information. It's good for what they do, but it's not going to work very well in the civilian world because they want to know something else. They want different info. So what do they want? Well, I did some research, and actually because of my research, I'm having to redo my tags. And I got crib notes on this one because I do not want to mess this up. So what kind of information do they want? The first thing they want your name. Kind of goes without saying. But there's a lot of people who get admitted to hospitals and such under John or Jane Doe because they don't know their name. And in a paintball sense, if you're out on the field, a lot of guys don't carry their wallets when they go play. So having your name right there, at least they know who you are. Also, your year of birth. They don't really care about your birthday as much as about your year of birth, so they can kind of get, oh, this guy is this many years old, so we can start eliminating some factors of why he's lying here unconscious. I'm just saying. They want an emergency contact. And this is one of those things that you've got to choose your person wisely. You want somebody who's going to know a little bit about you. They're going to want, possibly if they have something taped onto their cabinet of your insurance information, other stuff like that, very important. Also, when you're choosing an emergency contact, choose somebody who you know will answer the phone. The last thing you want is somebody who's like, oh, I don't know the phone number, I'm not going to answer it, let it go to voicemail. That is bad. You want somebody who is going to pick up. And it might not be a bad idea to let your emergency contact know that you have them listed as your emergency contact. And maybe if you're going on a road trip, let them know. I'm not saying that bad stuff's going to happen. I'm just saying an ounce of prevention. So another thing they want to know if you have a diagnosis or a condition that they should know about. Are you a diabetic? If so, what type of diabetic? Do you have asthma? Are you taking blood thinners? Have you had a recent surgery that they should know about? This is all stuff that could affect why you are where you are. So they want this right away. Also, and this is the thing that they said was the key thing. They want to know if you have allergies or if you have no allergies at all. This is actually one thing I read from an EMT is that if your emergency bracelet or whatever does not have this information on it, throw it away. Very important stuff, so make sure that you have that on there. I'm going to get to that in just a moment though, so bear with me. Now some stuff that they don't want, and this kind of surprised me, your blood type. They don't care about your blood type. Now a lot of people are going to argue on this one, but their explanation actually made sense to me. From the EMT standpoint, these are the guys who ride in the ambulance. They're not going to give you blood. They can't. So they're not going to care what your blood type is. Now if you go to the hospital, they're going to cross-type you anyway. They're going to double check. So even if your tag says you are whatever, they want to make sure. So they're not even going to bother looking at your tag. So it's useless. So don't bother putting it on there necessarily. Other stuff you don't need, your social security number. Again, I was kind of surprised by this one, but their explanation is that if you have an emergency contact, they should have this information. And also, it does means that your social is not going to be on your dog tags, so not a bad idea. Your home address. Again, not necessary. In theory, they should be getting this information from your emergency contact. So there you are. Something else too, your ICE. And this is something that's started fairly recently. If you have a cell phone, and pretty much everybody in the known universe now has one of these things, make a contact listing called ICE. That stands for In Case of Emergency. What this means is that if something bad happens, they're going to have an emergency contact that they can call from your phone. And they'll just scroll through your contact list, see ICE and then a name, and they'll know, okay, this is the guy that this guy wants me to call. There is a downside to that, and I was reading about this from a triathlete, of all people. She was on her bike, she got hit by a car, and she was thrown from her bike, and because of that, her cell phone was absolutely destroyed, so her ICE gone. So that's why having it on a tag like this is better, but, you know, belt and suspenders, I would say do both, if you can. Now, let's see, a couple other things, too. As far as what kind of a thing to get, a lot of people would go with the bracelets. You've probably seen these before. Matter of fact, I shouldn't have put this down. I'm going to break with tradition. There's two places that I found that have really good bracelets and IDs and stuff like that. First one is called Road ID, and the other one is called Medical Alert. Both of these are companies. Yes, they do sell this stuff. They average about $20 starting for possibly like a bracelet kind of thing. They go up there. You can get dog tags like this at a lot of online stores. This costs like $15, I think, for the entire set like this, what you see here. But what they were saying is that a bracelet is better than having a necklace. And most people are kind of split down the lines on this one. What they were arguing was that if you are in a bad situation, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to, among other things, check for a pulse. So if they're checking for a pulse, they're going to be looking at your wrist, and hey, this guy's got an ID tag, and they'll find it. Necklaces, they were saying they can break off, they can get shoved out of the way, but this thing's pretty resilient. It'll take a lot of force to get this off of there. So, but most people that I've talked to and I've read about, they're saying one or the other is good as long as you have something. They're also saying there's a bunch of other ways you can do it. They have shoe tags. It's basically this information that you put on your shoelace. They are saying that's just useless. Don't even bother with it because your shoes are gone. They're not even going to look at that. They're going to be looking up here for the most part. So that's on that. Now, as far as what to put on your tag, and this is kind of where you really want to talk to an actual physician or a doctor about this. There's a lot of shorthand that you can use to pack a lot of information on these tags, and a lot of the sites that I went to, and I'll have links down in the sidebar wherever it happens to be, for some of the slang that you can use. If you want to tell them that you have no allergies, no medical history, things like that, or if you do have allergies, how to put that on the tag. I'm not going to go into details about that here, but you can do it very easily. And again, some help's down there, but also talk to your primary care physician. There's also a new type of tag that's out there, and I'm kind of looking at my notes on this one. They're called interactive tags. There's some that are actually USB ports that you can plug into a laptop, and it'll have all of your medical information on there. The big one is that there's a service that you pay, like $10 a year, I think. And basically, if something bad happens, they'll find you. On the tag itself, it'll say, call this 800 number, use this patient ID number, use this number, and they can get all the information about you, either on the web or over the phone. That gives them a lot more information. But the one thing that I found from that is that a lot of the EMTs are saying that on the ground, on the field, if something bad's going on, that doesn't do them any good. They want to know now what's going on. They want to know if you have any allergies now. And they're not going to pick up a phone and call this place. So I kind of find it 6 in one, half dozen in the other. If you have a lot of medical history that needs to be covered, going with the interactive route might be the better way to go. And if you want to kind of see all this stuff demoed, they'll have the links down there so that you can check it out. And I highly recommend that you do check them out. One thing is that, again, this is one of those things that you don't really want to think about. You don't want to think, oh, I'm just setting myself up for an accident or something like that. No, you don't plan for stuff like this. And it's better to have the preparation done beforehand and to have all this stuff there than to not have it at all. And besides, the price is really inexpensive. For the price of most field fees, you can have something that's going to last pretty much your lifetime, that if something bad is to happen, you got some backup. You got something that can do some talking for you. So that's pretty much it. So thank you guys again for watching this whole thing. I know this is long, but this is something that really needed to be covered. So thank you guys very much for that. And we'll have something a little more entertaining coming up very soon.